So this is week 10. What we'll be doing right now is going through the syllabus and making sure everyone's on track of what is expected for you. I'm going to share my screen now. As always, the chat's open, guys, so just let me know if you have any questions or jump on the mic and we can talk that way. Okay. So, under your facility design, what we'll be looking at here is if you go to course information, we have a syllabus. I've just updated this today, and I want to open it up here and show you just how the next 4 weeks or so are going to lay out. And let me pull this over. Okay. Now, can I get a thumbs up that you guys can see my screen? Please and thank you. Perfect. And I'm just going to open up some chat windows and stuff and make sure I'm not missing anything. So hold on. Okay, so right now we can see this is my test chat. Test. Make sure it's working. Okay. So here we have our syllabus. We're almost towards the end of this particular semester, and what we'll see now is that while we only have, other than this week, we'll have one more week of material, and that's it for material. So we have week 10 material, we have week 11 material, and then after that, it's going to be a test and then work time. So here we are on week, this is not the one. We are on week 10 here. Hello. Hi. No, that's okay. That's okay. I am recording this so I can post it later for you. No problem. Okay, so I have updated the syllabus. There was just one thing that I need to change up. Okay, so we are week 10 right now. What we'll be doing is we'll be going through some of the other front of house stuff that I have not touched upon. I will be introducing to you the major project, as well as we'll have an in-class assignment worth 10%. This particular assignment will not be due until this upcoming Sunday at midnight. So this gives you some extra time in which to complete it. And I believe you can also do this one with one partner. Okay, so up to 2 people in a group. And this will be the front of house design assignment, very similar to what we've already did with the back of house assignment. Next week will be a sustainability or design bonus assignment that will go out. So a few of you maybe have not scored great on some of those or have missed one. This is your opportunity to make up those marks or to replace your lowest mark on the in-class assignments. So there'll be a couple options for you. This will be all explained to you next week. So you will have a bunch of options. I will give you until the Friday or the Sunday to complete it. And it's just a really good way to upgrade your mark and pad them a little bit. Week 12, we will have our final exam on Blackboard. So this it'll be a smaller one because it's only covering 3 to 4 weeks of material. As always, the exam will be posted on Blackboard at 1 p.m. And then on Wednesday, and it must be completed by 3 p.m. I don't know why Wednesday's in there, sorry. And then on week 13 and 14. So at that point right there, you have done all 4 of your in-class assignments, which are worth 10%. You've had your 2 tests, so 70% of your mark is complete. Now, at this point, the only thing that you have to do is complete our major project, which I will explain in a short little while. This major project can be done in pairs. It is worth 30% of your mark, so it's a little bit heavier than our in-class 10% assignments. And you will have 2 classes that I can assist you. So if we need to schedule a particular time, we can do that. If you just want to jump in at 1 o'clock and show me what you've done, fantastic. We can also meet throughout the weeks whenever it makes sense for you. That's not a problem at all. the final week class, so this is Tuesday at 1 p.m., I will be there, and it'll be due the following day at Wednesday. Okay, so that'll be like that last chance for any help where you want to tweak and just make it, whatever you think needs a little bit more work. That'll be that last moment. So that's how the next 4 weeks or so are laying out. Today we go through the in-class assignment, the major project, and I'm going to do some Visio training with you just to make sure you understand the very basics of what the back house and front of house require. And then from there, you can be able to complete those assignments. Okay, any questions on the syllabus before I move on? And now that everyone's here, I hope you're all having a lovely day. It's been stressful for a lot of people, I know, and with the strike looming and all these assignments and your work placements and you're graduating soon, my heart does go out to those who, it feels overwhelming probably at some time. So we are here, myself and all your faculty, we're here for you. If you reach out to us, we will help you as best that we can. I can't find a job for you, but I can at least help direct you in the right place. And I will be having some messaging coming out shortly through our Blackboard organization shell, all about what's the best avenue to find real graduate work. That's not an Indeed posting. Okay. Question about assignment 4. So I have a question about assignment marks that we have 4 assignments throughout the semester. Highest marks in one assignment be marked in all assignments. Is that right? Okay, so you have 4 assignments. They're all worth 10%, and you get graded on those however you did. There is one bonus assignment, which is happening next week. It is an option. You do not need to do it. Should you have scored low, let's say you got 0 on 1 because you didn't submit it on time, or you got a 40% on it, should you submit the bonus assignment, I will either replace one of those zeros if you do have one, or just look for the lowest mark, the one that's going to affect your mark the most, and give you higher marks. Okay? It's really kind of that last chance for those who may be struggling to earn some of these marks back. You might not get the full ones, depending on what you submit to me. So even if you do the bonus, but it's not done very well, you still can get a few extra marks. Okay. So last week, I asked that you all complete, or 2 weeks ago, I should say, an assignment, and it was based on a back of house design. And while many of you did, some of you did like an amazing job. And some of you struggled with this as far as really understanding what they look like. And sometimes I forget that not all of us have been in a kitchen and worked in a kitchen. At this point, I thought many of us have that experience through our internships, but perhaps not. So here's a few things that we should understand about some very generic back of house layouts. So first is that the area which food is finally created and then passed to whomever will be running it out to the dining room. This is what we would consider the heart of the restaurant. It is by far where most of the investment dollars go. It's the busiest, it's the most dangerous, and is where we should center our design first, is where we should think about designing first. Now there's different layouts. In every commercial restaurant or non-commercial restaurant, depending on what kind of person that you are serving. If you're working in a cafeteria versus a long-term care versus a high-end commercial restaurant, they might look different. And it also would depend on the style of food as well. So this right here is an island layout. Now, what you really need to focus on are a couple different things. How are the servers moving in there? Or the people running the food out? How are the cooks moving in there? And where's the food moving to? Right, so those 3 things are what we're looking for. And in this particular island layout, this is the indoor. It opens up. They would come in here. It looks like this would be some sort of dishwashing area. And then this right here is their island where all of their dishes are created and placed. Their hotline looks to be behind it. So after, and this is a very unique, this is you'll see in all of them. There's a hotline, and then there's a table in front of it where completed meals can be placed. So you'll see that in every single restaurant. Many of you created this hotline, but with no area adjacent to it or in front of it to actually place any kind of food. So this is where all the food would lay. There would probably be somebody back here plating it, garnishing it, making it look good, and setting it over here for the server to pick up and walk back out of. Now, there might be lots of extra spaces to this kitchen. We only see a small part. And this small part is this, right? Just the hotline and like kind of a service window or a pass, as we call it. Looks like they have a couple fridges and freezers, but you know, that stuff's not really that important as far as making sure this is a nice, tight, efficient working system. And you see the assembly line. So this one's probably the most popular, where they have this assembly line system and this kind of pass where the server will come in, pick up their food, and leave. And it's very simple. They come in and out. And then you also see in some places a zone layout. So this can work for areas that have multiple different styles of food that don't actually match each other. So as an example, you might have like sushi and then a steak area and a dessert area and a cold food and salads. And the only downside of having this zone layout is that you might need to pick up a sushi over here, go pick up a salad over here, and then grab a steak and then walk back out. So that's the only downside, where there's not a central area where you can place all your meals together. But a zone layout works well for different styles of food that require different cooking styles and maybe even holding temperatures, where all this stuff needs to stay hot, but you don't want to get your sushi hot and you don't want your salads or your desserts to be hot. So that's kind of how some different layouts can look like. And then even fast food or quick service, as we call it. This is a pizza place. So as you can see here, the customer would walk in. They have a merchandise glass door. They have a little area in which for them to eat, should they want, and a pizza display. Now behind this, they have a pizza cutting table and a point of sale system where they bring in all the meals. And they have this pizza preparation area with you put the pizza in here and it comes out the cooker and it's cut all of this area. Little washroom, 3-door freezer, a little storage area, a couple sinks. Fairly small, but nice and tight and efficient, and it's all they need for a place like this. And I also want to just give you a different look. So sometimes when you're looking at it from a bird's eye view, it's not as easily understood. So what we're looking at here is sort of the assembly line style, where all the food is cooked on, or even the island style, just with a different table. All the food is cooked on this side under this wonderful hood system here. And what they do is after they cook it, they bring it over on this table where it is plated, and then the server will stand on this other side, grab the food, and leave. So this would probably be most related to this island layout, just with a different looking table where all the food's cooked on one side. They have like an L table in that one picture. Again, people come in, grab it, and go out. Now, that is not the whole kitchen. That is just a small part of it. It actually only takes up probably 30% of the entire kitchen floor print or blueprint. But it is some of the most important part. The rest of the area is often used just for storage, preparation, employee staff areas, something like that. So, and this is what I'm going to show you. Okay. So the keg, there was going to be a keg in Bracebridge, and they decided not to. It's a very seasonal town, but they even had to the point where they came up with full blueprints for. So this is a keg restaurant floor plan, very similar to like the things that you will be designing for Bracebridge that just never was launched for whatever reason. And a couple things that I'll bring to your attention as we go through class. So let's first look at the kitchen. So the kitchen is over here on the left-hand side. They have this whole area, but really you just have this indoor and an outdoor. And that's what we need to understand. So in every kitchen, this is what you'll see. There are probably 3 or 4 areas that all need to be right as you enter the kitchen. First of all, when most servers come into the kitchen, they're holding their plates full of empty, dirty dishes. So the first thing you need is this lovely dishwashing area. So as they come in, they drop off their food into this dishwashing area. And it's not shown what it would look like, but I'm assuming, and if, pardon my horrible drawing here, but this is kind of what it would look like. So the dishwashing area would probably have a table like this. Well, it'd probably be something like this. So they'd come, drop off their dishes here. Their dishes would be sprayed off in some sort of sink, and then it would go through a big dishwasher and then come out this way. And clean dishes would come out this way. Let's go a little thicker. Okay. So that is your dishwashing area right there. So that's how that would look. So first thing, you drop all your dishes. Now the server has the ability to pick up new dishes from this kitchen. Now, these things over here are probably, they look like little tables. This is what we call a service area inside the kitchen, which means when the servers come in, they might not need to grab food, but they need to grab 4 teas, a couple extra side plates, some cutlery, maybe a Coca-Cola, and this is where all of that stuff is going to be, just on the inside of this door. So they can come, grab what they need, and leave and go back out. They'll also come and get their food. So this is where this kitchen is going to be. So underneath this hood will be all of our cooking area. It's usually always up against a wall because they need power and they need electricity and all this different stuff and the suppression system. And then there will be always some sort of pass. So I can do a little pass here, and I can even do 2 if I want, and just say, hey, this one's going to be a cold, so soup or salads and desserts and things that shouldn't be under heat, and this one's going to be a hot pass. And the only difference one will have some sort of heat lamps on it and one won't. So this is where all their grills are going to be and all the stuff that they have to cook and their deep fryers and their ovens and all the things that they need. They're going to put it here. So when the server comes in, drop their dishes. Then they go over here, grab an item, grab another item, pick up some cutlery, and then they leave. And what you're seeing is that they're really keeping as much or as little steps as possible. We don't have them in the back staff area, these prep areas, or in the coolers or anything up here. It's not required. We keep them in and out of the kitchen as quick as possible. So when you have actual kitchen staff, they're staying back here. And let me choose a different color. So this is the kitchen staff, red. So the kitchen staff are all back here. And when they might need some items, they can run out, go to the cooler, the freezer. Well, they don't need to go to the beer cooler, or back here into the dry storage and prep area, and then they're back online. So again, we're keeping it nice and tight. They're only staying to a few areas, and none of these servers that would be in the black are walking in the same areas that the cooks are doing. And you have this staff area that they can both go to, so I suppose that would be the only area where the staff might actually meet up. But if it's busy, they're probably not going there. And there's a washrooms. So I hope that gives you an idea of how these back of house areas are laid out. It doesn't need to be, it can look in a million different layouts, but there are always a few things that need to be centralized to how the food moves. So when the food moves, servers, dishwashing, cold line, hot line, service area. Those are the 4 areas that need to be just really quite tight once inside the doors. And the kitchen should be close to the prep area, the storage, and some of your freezer, your cold storage as well. Things like staff area, washrooms, manager's office, electrical room, those we fit wherever it makes sense, but they're not as important as the other ones. Can I get a thumbs up, please? That makes some sense, or a thumbs down if you're completely lost. or a celebration thing, because that's just fun to do. All right, thank you. Let's have a little fun with it. And it should be fun. Like, it's hospitality at some point. I know, like, we're on the clinical side, we're on the medical side, but let me tell you, there's not a person in that retirement home long-term care that doesn't want to have fun. And at a certain age, food will always be a huge part in their life. Because a lot of the things that we would consider fun, traveling and vacations and skiing and golfing and all dancing, they can't do anymore. But they can always enjoy a really good meal. So, having nice areas to eat, having an experience, not just feeding people, but serving people and giving them that experience is really, it's why I love the industry. Okay, so I'll give you this document because it also gives you an idea of how they have created a front of house area. I'll refer back to this after we go through some front of house stuff. Okay, so front of house layouts is what we talked about a little bit last week, and there was a PowerPoint about it. But this is again similar. Instead of following the food, we're following the customer. So really, we're more so worried about how the customer will move and how the employees move. And those are the two big things. Yes, we want the food to come out and be able to get to a table. That's important. But here we're more worried about ambiance, experience, comfortableness, whereas it's not a production area. So here is an example of a layout for probably a 80 seat restaurant or so, where they come in the front door. They have this vestibule. Now, a vestibule is essentially just another small antechamber or another room. And what it does is really help keep the cold, like for us, obviously it's February, March. We have cold air outside. We don't want cold air coming in to our restaurant and blowing and doing all that. So that really works out well. So they come in here and it looks like they have some sort of host little desk area. And what they will do is that they will be seated. They have washrooms over on this side, and it looks like they have a little bar up here. I can actually poke a lot of holes in this. I think this is not a very well laid out restaurant at all. I don't think some of these restrooms don't really work, because this is also where a lot of the servers might be walking up and down with food. But it gives you an idea of what these layouts can look like. Here's a better one. And I wonder if I can zoom in a little bit so you get a better view. So here, again, they have this lovely, where they walk in the restaurant right here. They have this little host area right away. And this is what you'll see in a lot of commercial restaurants, is that they will separate the bar area from the entire dining area, let's call it. So they've actually had a wall here, or a half wall, whatever it might be, where you can go in this bar area. They can have live music. It's more lively. They have this bar set up. And then they have this whole dining room as well, with different options, right? So it's not, having different amounts of seating is good as well. Because when I look at this right here, this is what we call, this is like a half booth. So this is booth seating all the way around, and then just some actual chairs. This is great because people love sitting in booths. Thing about booths, it's not good for any disabled people that need handicapped seating. So you kind of have the best of both worlds, that you can have people sit in the booth as well as people with wheelchairs access these tables. You can push these tables together to have larger parties. Same thing up here. And they really work well that way. So this gives you an idea of how this works. And then, of course, we do have the kitchen and how it's all set up. So there's a lot. I've included a lot of different layouts. Now that we're getting into designing the front of house, we'll also be looking at color schemes, choice of materials, some of the branding options, things like that. Because again, in a kitchen, it's production. It's stainless steel, it's bright lights, it's safety first. But when you're in the dining side, it's more about, what am I feeling as a customer? What am I feeling as a resident? It has a lot to do with health. So I give you a couple ideas of how they incorporate plants and how they incorporate different color schemes, and you get a feel for it. So I've already gone through this entire thing, but I'll go through it a bit in a pre-recording lecture, but I'll go through a bit to remind you. These are the main dining areas that a front of house area can encompass. So it's your main dining area. There might be some private dining rooms that are good for parties, that are good for events. Even Roberta Lodge, I remember we did a redesign there, and there was 110 seats, although they had 126 residents or something along those lines. But they had this little back private room, which could be a private room. I think there was a piano in there or something at the time. But it was just another option that if, some of the residents had some of their family in and they wanted to eat in the dining room, they could go over there and have a little bit of a different experience. So we see this in every industry where there's private dining rooms or patio seating might be involved. There could be a bar area. And even at Roberta Lodge, they had a bar area, which was strangely in the lobby. It was kind of in the way, but that's the way that they had to place it. An entry and waiting area, some server stations, and then, of course, some washrooms. So these are the main things that you'll be looking at. I have gone through much of what in this pre-record lecture, some of the things that you want to be aware of. I'm not going to go through all of them right now. I'll just touch upon them. I go through all lighting and color schemes and everything as far as what kind of colors you want to incorporate, what kind of lights you want to incorporate. All of this, again, will have an impact on how the customer is feeling. And you can see how just some lighting and this is way too much if you ask me, but how some lighting and some different views can set a different tone for the entire place. We go through this one where we're using these nice muted yellows, neutral colors and wood colors, bright white, and this place feels very soothing almost. It's high-end, it's still classy, but it's not pretentious or anything. This is ugly. I hate this particular one, but that being said, there is a theme, and it's under the sea. I feel like I'm eating inside an aquarium style of theme. So your patio area, we have about 4 to 6 months of a patio time, which is a really great way to enlarge our seating. We wish we had more during COVID. We obviously use those patios because a lot of times we couldn't have indoor dining, so it was all outdoor dining. So even if you're maybe in a long-term care retirement home that had outdoor dining as opposed to eating in their room, that would have been a fantastic option for some of them. You got to make use of all your umbrellas and awnings to obstruct the sun as much as you can. When your patio is large, you also might need an outside bar. But give you an idea of what this patio could look like, it's almost an extension of the indoors. So you have this lovely restaurant, which I'm sure is beautiful, but you see this patio probably has another 120 seats, both of which are under some awnings. And the only part that isn't under an awning is this kind of plant area, which kind of divides the space nicely. These awnings are all retractable. They come in and out. So when it's sunny and it's nice and they actually want people to sit in the sun, it's great. Or if it's fall or spring where the sun doesn't have as much UV strength. And then as the seasons turn, of course, they pull these out and just provide it a little bit more protection. When it comes to entryways, because we are so seasonal, we have to be careful of just having these open doors. So what you'll see in a future pre-recorded lecture for this week, I talk about positive and negative air pressure. Now, we deal with this a lot in healthcare. Essentially, positive air pressure means that when a door opens, so as an example, I'm in this office right now. If I look at this door, if that door were to open and I have positive air pressure, that means the hot air that's coming out of my mouth, because I'm full of hot air, all of this air would go out of this office. Positive air pressure. This is good if I am, from a healthcare perspective, immunocompromised. I can't have outside allergens, diseases, viruses, bacteria, blah, blah, blah. I can't have that coming into my room. I put positive air pressure here. That door opens up. no foreign air comes in. If I am sick and I have a disease that I don't want anyone else to have, such as, I guess, a COVID, if I have that, I would want negative air pressure in here. So in those particular areas, when this door were to open up again, outside air comes in, but the inside air stays in here. So that's the difference between positive and negative air pressure. I talk about it next in this week's PowerPoint. Essentially, though, when you think about entryways and waiting rooms, why we have this vestibule area is that we want our dining room to have positive air pressure. And then when those doors for outside open, that our warmed air from our dining room goes outside. While it kind of sucks to have warmed air that you paid to heat outside, it's better than having the February cold weather pushed inside. So that just gives you an idea. You wouldn't be responsible for doing that, but when anyone, specifically in healthcare, it's used as far as HVAC systems and ensuring air quality is the right way it should be. But it's also used in commercial restaurants to ensure that we don't have really cold air coming from outside, or from in the kitchen. You'll also want negative air pressure, dining room positive. So our air conditioned air from the dining room will be pushed in the kitchen. The kitchen air doesn't get pushed in the dining room, which is full of smells. And if somebody's allergic to garlic and you're baking pans and pans of garlic in your oven, that might be an issue. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked. When it comes to those entryways and waiting areas, you'll obviously have some sort of host, some sort of greeting area for them. This is their first perception of a restaurant, their first perception of this particular place. So we need to ensure that they have a good experience. And the host is also the last person to see him as well. So she or he is the first and last. So ensuring that this place is well staffed and they're trained up really helps you in the long run. Also could be a place for some merchandise. Coat checks don't really happen anymore. Usually there might be coat checks in and on the tables, a couple hooks, or dessert displays, but you may have that vestibule that I was talking about to reduce some of the drafts. And then waiting areas as well. So with the rise of takeout food, as well as just now there might be, 50% capacity, and then also now the rise of dining back in and everyone's allowed, people sometimes have to wait for their meals. So having a nice waiting area will really help with your customer service for the amount of customers you can. If they have to stand outside, they're not going to wait. If you have a nice, comfortable area, they're going to stick around a little bit longer. And offering this nice space will actually really help you out. Because if I don't know if you guys have ever been really hungry, it's pretty easy if you're hungry to get angry. And we've heard this before, if you're hangry or whatever it is. So you just want to be careful, offering them as much of a comfortable area as possible while they're waiting for a table to open up. And then the bar area. So that's kind of another part of what we'll be focusing on today, a front of house area with a bar. Now, the reason we talk about the bar as much as we do is because if the hot line is the heart of the house in the kitchen, the bar would be the brain of the restaurant. Okay, it's kind of the front of house focal point. It's again where all of the money or a lot of the money is invested, most of the equipment, and you kind of do that first, and then you design around it. So it's the focal point, has a strong visual impact. There are things that we do to make this look nice, such as using different lighting, locating the bar close to the waiting areas so we can actually make some more revenue. We can have people who are waiting, they can walk up and get a drink. The bar will usually share a back wall with the kitchen because we have electrical, we have plumbing, and we also have refrigeration for all of our cold beer and kegs that we have to have. So you'll see that in most things, and I'll show you back when we go back to the Bracebridge floor plan, you'll see that it shares a back wall with the kitchen. This will give you an idea of, this is what we call an island bar. So the great thing about this is that you have lots of seating opportunity. You have 3 walls or 3 areas in which to work with. And then the back, it shares a back wall with the kitchen. And this is what it would look like if it was actually created. Bad thing about this is that it takes a lot of the floor plan space. That's the only thing. So it gives you an idea of like some of how it would look as a layout and how it would look as an actual artistic rendering. Again, it gives you a couple ideas of how these bars can really look and some of the design features that you can put into it. It's all about lighting. It's all about bar displays on the back wall and making it look really attractive. Now, there's going to be some pieces of equipment in there. At the very least, you will need a sink as well as a glass washer. They can wash out and dry up to 2,000 glasses per hour, and these are the 2 common types that we see. This one here is just, they call it a dolphin sometimes, but it's like the rotary. So you put your glass in here, and it comes out clean on the other side. It's great for washing single dishes at a time. And then this one here, you have to wait for you don't have to wait, but efficiency-wise, you should wait for a full rack to fill, and then you put it in and it does a single cycle. And then, of course, some server stations. So a server station is, I talked about a server station in the back of house, and it's where all the coffee and the tea and the roll-ups and the cutlery and the napkins and all the stuff that they might need to serve a table. Now, we like to have little small areas like this throughout the restaurant. It really just saves steps. So if you're in the far end of the restaurant, it's really quite easy for you to get a plate or an extra napkin because somebody dropped theirs, as opposed to walking the 65 steps all the way back to the kitchen. And then somebody's trying to get you to run some food, but you're like, no, I need to run this plate and this cutlery back to my table. They're trying to eat. And then you got to walk 65 steps back. And it might be 2 and 3 minutes before you actually get back there in time. And at that time, everyone else is eating, and this person's like, I want to eat, but I need a fork, right? It's those instances, those small amounts of time that can really make or break an experience for someone. So we put these little server stations all throughout our restaurant where they make sense. They should be convenient. They're often away from the bar. They're away from the kitchen because that stuff has these things as well. And they're usually placed out of the sight of the guest. So you can go back there and you can work away. They're often POS stations as well. So this one here, it's tucked in this little corner. They have all their plates, napkins, paper, looks like the terminals to pay, extra glassware, a POS terminal, a printer, all that kind of stuff. And you can see, again, different little point of sale system that are just kind of tucked away in little areas. So you will need a couple of those in any good front of house layout. Washrooms are different than what we would have in a kitchen. So a kitchen always has washrooms for staff. They're dirty, they're grimy, they're covered in grease or flour or who knows what. So our serving staff and our kitchen staff will use the staff washrooms. And in the front of house is only for guests. So what we've often seen now is that restrooms have become gender neutral. And I really like this idea. So instead of having a male and a female, big washrooms, they do 5 or 6 smaller single occupant washrooms. And you'll see this in a lot of the new commercial restaurant things that are happening. I think it would actually really work well in long-term care where you have single, independent, all of the washrooms are handicap accessible. I think it makes perfect sense. So you place your restrooms in your kitchens as well, and they should be roomy, not too tight, and easy to clean fixtures and finishes. Some regulations, they say as a general rule, you're supposed to have 1 toilet for every 30 women and for every 60 men. Now that we are going gender specific or gender neutral, I should say, 1 for every 30 people is probably the best way of looking at this. So just do a bunch of small, independent, small washrooms. I think it works really well. And this will give you an idea of what a small, independent washroom will look like from a layout perspective, which is what we are trying to design. Sink, big door, a good amount of radius for the spin of the wheelchair, the handlebars on the wall, and then the toilet. but then you can see also from the more artist rendering how it actually looks, right? And that's what I think sometimes we miss when we try to talk layout all the time and bird's eye view, and you're looking down at an image and it's not quite the same. So sometimes it's nice to compare the two and get a feel for it. I also threw this in as well just to show you heights. But again, you won't be designing heights because we're doing bird's eye. Okay, so assignment number 4 will have you doing a front of house design. The space that is going to be used is 50 feet by 80 feet. You will design a front of house space. It will need an entrance with a vestibule and a waiting area. So a small room at the front door, just enough for somebody to walk in, open up the door, walk forward a couple steps, and then open up another door, right? So it might be 6 feet. A bar, and I suggest you include the bar first. So first design the bar, because this is the main draw. It's going to be the main, like I said, the brain of the front of the house where all the drinks come out of. It's backed onto the kitchen where all the food comes out of. It's kind of the main area and where the most money's invested. Then a dining room with the table layout, a small patio area, 30 feet by 30 feet with a table layout, washrooms, an entrance and exit or pass through to the back of house. So just an area, like it doesn't need to be actual doors. Sometimes they're just openings and sometimes they're doors. I like doors because it stops the noise. But sometimes you'll see that they'll just maybe walk behind a wall and then that'll work as well. Server station or stations. And then I also say one major decor design feature. And I said include a picture of this feature in your supporting material. So again, we're not creating just a layout that's going to be operational or functional. It has to be enticing. It must have like an appeal. Like you want to go there because it has these really cool tables, or there's plants everywhere, or look at this water feature, or there's different levels. Look at all these TV screens they have. Something that will draw you there more. It's a hookah bar and they're doing whatever that is. There's lots of different options. So those are sometimes difficult to show from that bird's eye view, but you're going to have a supporting document with this that'll show you, you can show me the picture of it. So if it's a fountain, you say, okay, this is the fountain. Some of the supporting material, there's 2 things that I want you to do. And this kind of also leads to kind of train you for this major assignment. 1, I want you to provide an example of what a 4-person table that you would use, how much it would cost you for the table, and for 4 chairs. Okay, I've given you a bunch of links in the assignment as well as in this PowerPoint. So you just got to go in there, source them, find out what their size is, and then when you create your tables for your floor plan, that's the one you're going to be using. You don't need to use just that table. All good restaurants have tables for 2 people, 4 people, 8 people, booth seating, high tops. They have different styles of seating, but definitely use it a few times throughout your design. And then I want you to provide, so this is the tough part. This is where often students be like, I don't understand what you're asking me, or I don't know. You provide a paragraph describing the overall theme of your restaurant. Give a description of the type of food or the type of menu. Include images of textiles or materials, decor, anything that you think that you would include in your restaurant design. Because again, when we look at a layout, it's really hard to tell. We just see the functionality of the people movement and the food movement. We don't see the personality of it, the ambiance of it. So if your restaurant is dark and it has, it's all very dark granite tables and gray curtains and really cool lighting, okay, that's cool. That's great. Or if it's, hey, I'm doing a vegetarian restaurant, we're bringing in wood and plants and light themes and make it feel very airy and healthy and that. Well, then let's find some pictures that represent that. And it could be pictures of restaurants that exist already to let me know of how you think this is going to look. I know there'll be some questions on that. and that's okay. I've also given you some of the links. So these are all Canadian restaurant companies, and you can find all kind of different seating and chairs. Additional instructions, please use appropriate labels for areas, such as a server station, indicate that it is a server station. Service bar, so in the bar there will be a bar where all customers can sit, but there will also be an area where the actual drinks for other tables have to go. So there shouldn't be any stools around it. It should be just an area that's kind of pulled off that can be used as a service bar alone. You will submit your Visio design. Please export it as a PDF. And you can either give your supporting information. You can put it in a Word document. You can put it in a PowerPoint, a couple slides, and show me, what the feel is of this front of house area. And then we'll go from there. Okay. Any questions on the assignment that we know of right now? All of this material is under assignments already. You have assignment 4 with your submission link, and there's a document here essentially stating all of the things I just talked about. Let me pull it up for you so you can see it. Here it is. So it's a little bit more in depth. So it's due Sunday, March 27th by midnight. So that's about 5 days or so from now. This is the requirement. Minimum seating for 48 people, a bar with a designated service area, a patio area with minimum seating for 24, washrooms, entrance, exit, service station. And all the stuff that was in the slides is there for you. Okay, so there's your actual assignment. I will go into Visio now if you're okay with that, and I'm going to start showing you how to create a bar because there's levels to it and it's a little bit more complicated. The rest is tables and chairs and things like that. It's a little bit easier to understand, but the bar side is the most. So, I'll also show you how to set up the layout for it as well. Okay, so does anyone have any questions at all? I feel like I've been talking for an hour straight and it's a ghost town out there. What's going on? Shafali, let me just hear your voice. You okay? Okay, someone says, can you please tell me about supporting material? Okay. So supporting material will be, so you will submit 2 documents, let's say. One's going to be a PDF. The other one's going to be your supporting material, which will include 2 major things. One, the 4-person table with chairs and the price and where you got it from. So that can be in a Word document or a PowerPoint, not a problem. And the second piece will be a paragraph describing the theme of your restaurant. So I don't want you to create any generic layout because people don't go to generic places, right? I don't care that, like, if it's just a place that serves food, yeah, but what kind of food? I've had a lot of students, and many of them are Indian in a different program, and we have a menu facility design. And they always try to recreate some of their, their Indian heritage. So they think, okay, well, how will my place look? What colors? In such a colorful culture, what colors am I going to use? How do I want this to feel? And often they're health conscious, and often they're vegetarian or vegan options as well. So if you're having a vegetarian and vegan restaurant, that might impact the layout. You might have an indoor garden in there. You might have lots of shrubbery. You might have a river or a water feature or aquariums throughout it. These different things that you might want to show. There's no wrong answer because this is a creative aspect. The only wrong answer is that you don't give me something, if that makes sense. So this, yes, I guess you can do the 4-person table wrong, But really, all you need to do is find a table, chairs, price it out, get a feeling for the cost of something like this. This one here, where I'm providing the overall theme, I need you to find something. Hey, we're going to do a Korean barbecue place, or we're going to do a fine dining seafood place. And I'm going to have, it'll be nautical themed. So I'm going to have little tugboats, and the servers are going to be dressed like sailors, and I'm going to have anchors on the wall and sailboats and sails in the rafters, and you can do all kinds of things. You really can. Okay, let me pull up Visio and see what I can do. Okay, so when you go to Visio, you will say New Floor Plan, US Units. So you have to create a floor plan that's 50 by 80 feet for a restaurant, but then you also need to have a 30-foot by 30-foot patio. And this is just the front of house. So this is not even the back of house. So you don't need to worry about the back of house, but just understand that this is only a portion of your design. So I'm going to say 50 feet by 80 feet. So all I did was grab a room, I pulled it in. I'm gonna leave this size for now, the background size, because it seems like it fits okay. So here we go. Here's my restaurant. Now you're gonna want to figure out where your patio is going to be before you start designing stuff, because you're gonna need a front door area. And do you want people to walk through your patio to get into your restaurant, or do you want them to walk in the front door and then they go through a side door to your patio? And that is going to be the question. So I'm just going to pull in another room and say properties, and I want a 30-foot, I think I said by 30-foot patio. Now, I say that 30 foot by 30 foot. Honestly, I don't care if it's 30 feet by 30 feet. All you really need to do is have seating for 24. So I'm going to show you that. That's 30 feet by 30 feet. I'm going to place it right there, and that's fine. Great. But I'm going to show you that you can also do it differently. So I'm going to say, okay, if that's how you wanted it, you can do that. I would probably put the door coming into the restaurant there, so people walk in and they see this lovely patio, and then that way they can go to it. Sure, that works. You can also, if you want, kind of be a little bit more creative and say, I am going to create my patio, and I'm just going to create it in like a little L. So I want it to go kind of like this. So there's going to be doors out, there's going to be doors in, and yeah, it's a little bit bigger. Again, I'm not concerned as long as you have enough room for 24, seating for 24 out here, and if you want to make it bigger, that's okay as well. But where we need to focus on is the bar. So first I'm going to do my little entry. I'm going to find some doors. So I'm going to say I'm going to use these double doors because this is a nice place, and a lot of people might be coming in. And then I also will want to create some sort of vestibule. So it's not going to be huge. Let me zoom in a lot because this is a big space. It's not going to be huge, but I want it big enough that it's going to stop some of the wind. And I'm just going to pull in some walls, and there we go. And that might even be too big. But I'm going to go quick on this just to kind of give you an idea. There we go. There we go. And then I'm going to also need another set of doors walking into the place. So I guess you could put doors to the left or right, but it just kind of makes sense that they're just going to keep walking in through this area. And the idea is that by the time they get into this door, these are closing before they open these. It stops all the gusts, stop all that kind of stuff. All right, so we have this vestibule. We have this area that they're walking into. This is my patio. I want to figure out where my bar area is going to be. And I don't know what I want to do here. I'm going to say that my bar area is going to be over here. Okay. So what I want to do now is that I need some more shapes and then some more items. So again, you go to your more shapes on the left-hand side. You go to maps and floor plans, building plans. You've seen this before. I'm going to start adding in a bunch of stuff. You can't add too much. It's all good stuff. You want furniture, maybe garden accessories, because I'm thinking I might do some sort of garden or plants. Office furniture might work because they have tables. I'm just selecting them all, really. Planting. There's some more walls, doors, and you can select every single one. You can do sports fields and see what comes up. I don't know why you would need that, but you can do it. Okay. So what I want now is a host desk. So I'm just going to go find something that could be a host desk. Office furniture, table. Done. There's my little host desk. And the only thing I want to do is that when you come into a restaurant, you do have to understand that there is going to be areas that you want separated. You don't want this just to be one big open room, right? We're going to have to build restrooms. We're going to have to build a bar area and then all kinds of dining space and maybe a private dining room. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start throwing in some walls and just say, okay, I'm going to break this up a little bit. I'm going to put a little wall here. I'm going to put another wall like this. Just to kind of give it, you know, the hosts are standing behind this wall, and they're waiting for people to come up to them. And the thing is adding those little bits too. So, and if I add a telephone, so that's a really big table, and I add a PC, and now it gives it a feeling that this is an actual, you know, little host desk. So they come in. Now they have two options. They can go, or three options. I want to go to the patio, I want to go to the bar area, and I want to go to the dining area. So we're going to focus on the bar first. So when I look at this, I say, okay, let's go to the bar, and I said my bar is going to be over on this side. The bars should always kind of, this is actually a bad place to do it, come to think of it. Crap. Okay, bar is going on this side, because it should share a wall with the kitchen. So let's say this is a kitchen, because over here is the patio. So I'm going to build a bar on this wall over here. All right, so you want to find, there's a couple pieces that you can use. I think these are really good. Work surface, corner surface, round corner. These work really well for when you want to create a bar. So I'm going to make that horseshoe bar that we saw. So I'm going to make this horseshoe bar. So there's a couple things that you can do. This one here, you can make however size you want, and you can pull it and drag it, and you can do all kinds of fun things. So a horseshoe bar will be that. I'm going to pull this, and I'm actually just going to copy and paste this one, because then I should be able to turn it around. I need to flip this. I think I messed that up. Oh yeah, I just need to do this. Okay, I need to turn it this way, and let's move it this way. Okay, so there's our horseshoe bar. Looks nice, looks pretty. The only thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to open this up like this, because I want people to be able to move back behind it. And I'm also going to put a back bar, which all places need. And this might be refrigeration. This might be TVs, liquor bottles, more storage. But I'm going to put a little back bar area. And this right here should be enough room for all my service staff to get back here. So any questions so far? Are we paying it? Give me a thumbs up. Let's just take a moment here. Give me a thumbs up if we're paying attention and we're watching. things are good. Okay. I think this is really fun, creative stuff. So I know for sure some of you do. I've seen some of your designs that are like stellar. And then some I know this is, it's a struggle. Not everyone gets everything. So what we need to do now with this bar is understand how they're set up. So when I search commercial bar, I'm just going to get an image. And use Google, use all of this stuff. It's your friend. It'll tell you all kinds of information. So when I look at these commercial bars, they have this, let me see, what's a good one? They're not showing me behind it. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so it's got your bar top. This is kind of a horseshoe bar with them coming in on this side. They have this back bar area, TVs, displays, stools all around it, and then what we're not seeing is what it looks behind. So I don't know if I can get the behind view, but what you want to see is that, yeah, here's an okay one where they have storage underneath, workspace underneath. So it gives you an idea that it's, here you can see it as well. So all underneath, yeah, they have those stools, they have all the setup. The customers don't see it, but all underneath is all of the ice wells and all the stuff that you need. So that's what we're going to be working on now, is that in this design, we need to put that in here. And it's quite simple, actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in just to make it easier. I'm going to select these pieces. I'm going to copy and paste. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move them around a little bit so they're just sticking out. Right now it's overlapping. I'm going to send this back actually, so it's underneath it. So this will be what we consider our underbar. So if up here is where the people are sitting on stools on this side, underneath here will be where we put our sinks and our ice wells. And I can show that by, if I have a, what do I want? I want a bathroom, bath and kitchen. I can grab a sink and show you that if I can move this around, I'll put a sink in this corner. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to send this back one level, so it's underneath this top bar piece, but it's inside this bottom bar piece. So instead of sending all the way to back, I just click this little arrow and say send backwards. That goes one level. If I go all the way back, it'll go right underneath everything. So send backwards, and now you see the sink is kind of tucked in underneath this area. And I'd do the same thing. Maybe I'd put some ice wells in there. And really an ice well is just a square. So if I go back to that office furniture that I was in, where is it? That work surface, I'm going to have my service bar up over here. So here, let me show you something. So I'm going to copy and paste this one as well, and do the same thing. Move it down a bit. Just make it look like it should belong there. Send to the back. Now we have this underbar, and I'm just going to move this guy and make it look like it's going to be an ice well. So it's just going to be in there, and I can just tweak it a little bit. And you can have all kinds of stuff. And what you can do as well is that if you want these things to really stand out and look different, what you can do is I can select this top piece, press Control, select this one as well as this back bar area. So all the top level. And I'm going to go to Styles, and I'm just going to change the fill to brown. That's so ugly. Hold on. I'm just going to change the fill. I don't know. These are all really quite disgustingly ugly. To gray. I still don't like that. Hold on. I'm going to change this, fill it up, give me some more options here. I want a gradient fill or a pattern. Let's say it looks like that. It's better. I'm trying to get a wood bar. It's not fantastic, but you get the idea. And then I can go to this back bar because I know it's going to be stainless steel. And then I can do a solid fill of this one in that gray color and give it a little bit of texture, and you can see. So then I'm also going to pull in some chairs. So here's some stools that I could pull in, and I can move them up. And again, if I send these to the back, it looks like it's tucked in underneath. So that's fantastic as well. So I might want to copy and paste a bunch of these. I might want to change this color of it to, let's say, red. Okay, copy and paste a bunch of those. And now you have a bunch of red stools. So you do need, and I'm just going to do a couple more just so you get a feel for it. So you do need to also put in a service bar area. So if I just do this, I'm tucking all these stools in. I'm going to select them all by holding Control, selecting all of these, send to the back. I'm actually going to group them, so I can group these together. So I could copy this and paste it. And now I just save myself some time, and I can tuck these up over here too. And then send those to the back. Send these to the back. So now you have a couple seating around this lovely little bar area. And here we go. Now, so when people come in, they go to the host desk and say, oh, thank you so much. We'd love to go to the bar. They go to the bar. You would also want seating all around here as well. So you'd probably put some booths or tables up against these walls. For me, knowing what I know and knowing how like the layout usually is, there's probably going to be a door back to the kitchen right there, or in and out door. I don't know where those are. There's a little bit of exploring you need to do to find all the things. Yeah, opposing doors, that's better. So you can find these opposing doors, move them in. So the bartender can enter and leave and do what they got to do and go grab food from the kitchen. So you're going to do tables. You're going to create more tables and seating. You could do private dining rooms. Same thing up over there. You're going to need a door in and out of the patio, and then create some patio seating as well. At the end of this, don't worry about flooring yet. Because when you put flooring, you may have noticed as you put flooring into your design, what really seems to happen is it slows it all down. It's really hard for it to work. So I know I'm going to put flooring in here, but I can wait till the end. We also need to put washrooms in here, which we haven't thought about yet. So what you'd probably do when I look at this, I would probably put washrooms on this side here against this wall. That way people on the patio can easily get it. People throughout the dining room can easily get to it. And same with the bar. That's the only issue as far they'd have to walk through here, but shouldn't be a huge deal. And what you could also do, now that I think about it, is have that walkway that connects. So you just have like that little walkway right there where it's a wall, and they would just go right through there. And that's going to be their entry, so they don't have to go into this front area. Just some options. I'm just playing with it. Again, you got lots of time to work with this. You will do seating on your patio. You will have a couple washrooms built in, bunch of different seating options. Find a table online, and then start thinking about design options and different things. And I know even in here, if I go to garden accessories, like to make things look nice, I could put a brick path walking into my place. Little things like that. I can put wood posts, although that's not very big. It's hard to see. I have an actual patio option, so I can put in pergolas on my patio if I want. Now, the only problem with this is really hard to see what's going on, but I can put a pergola over top of people walking in if they wanted, and I can throw in my grass, and the place really starts to take a lot of shape. And I can have a couple fountains on my patio, all kinds of stuff that you can do if you look around and find some of these options. I could bring in trees. That's a huge tree, but you can also shrink it, I think. Maybe I'll bring in some trees because it's great also to block the view from people walking in. So I'm bringing in some trees in here, and you know, those things just start filling up and looking nice. Okay, so that assignment is due on Sunday by midnight in pairs. You will submit this as a PDF. What I'll be looking for is ensuring you have enough seating, ensuring that there's a good traffic flow, so there's areas for people to walk. You have really more than enough room. So that's another thing I'm going to caution you on. I would rather you shrink your space a little bit than have open, empty spaces. Because that's sometimes, you know, they are looking just to get it done. And I can't blame people for doing that, but they'll bring in a bunch of these square tables and they'll be like, here you go, here's another one, and bring in a bunch, and here you go. And then all of a sudden they'll be like, okay, that's 48 seats, I got it. And you're like, yeah, but this makes no sense. Like, it's such a waste of space. No person would actually design something like this. So we're kind of really missing the point. So I would rather you, if you were very efficient with your space and you said, well, it's just too big, and you shrink it down a little bit, I would rather that happen than leave all of this open, empty space. That's how you lose marks. Right? So that'll give you an idea of how to start. I think I provided plenty of stuff to work with. Don't be afraid of breaking up the space, putting in walls. You know, a lot of times people that want to go out for dinner don't also want to go, don't want to sit around the bar. They don't feel comfortable maybe. So, you know, if I want to put a wall here like that, and I'm creating my own pathways. So I'm going to put some booths and table in here. They can walk in over to the other dining room, to the washrooms. They can walk up to another little dining area over here. This could be a party room. This could be the main dining area. And if I bring it back to the Keg Bracebridge floor plan, so this one here is pretty neat because it actually has a sunken in bar where they would go down a few steps to go into it. But you see they have that vestibule. Then they walk in. They have some benches where people can sit and wait. They have dining areas. So you'll see dining area 1, which is booth seating and some half booth seating, and then another small little area. They have dining area 2, which is just kind of a mimic of the first one. It's just a copy. Same thing, booth seating, some half booth seating, and then dining area 3, which is these raised booths with the floor and these big U-shaped tables. Then they have their whole bar side, and on the far end is where their washrooms are. All right? So it gives you an idea when you look at something like this, and you can say, okay, I know how customers are going to come in. They're going to come in here, they're going to stop the hostess station, they're going to seat me. So, okay, they're going to come seat me over here, or they're going to come seat me at one of these tables. This is where I go to the washroom, and then I leave back out the front door again. So it just gives you an idea. Or they come in, they go right down to the bar, and they sit up at the bar. And they should have a service area in all your bars. So you should acknowledge what your service area is. And often what they'll have is something kind of blocking. So let's say I were to copy these stools and move them over. Technically, I would not want, I'd probably want like 3 stools on that side, because that's where my service area is. My service area is going to be right here. So I'd probably delete a few of these off. I don't know maybe just put 2 stools. And I would put a text box or a call out and say service area. Like that. It could be there too. All right, just something for me to understand what this area is. So you're going to label, there's going to be fridges, there might be TVs on the back wall there, which I'm sure you can find somewhere. I don't know what this is. Looks like oh, that's a TV. So I can throw a TV up, no problem. Put it up there. That kind of stuff. All those little bits really add to the place. Look at other layouts. Look what they've done. There is a million in the PowerPoint that I've shown you of how tables are arranged and hosts and little sidewalls and booth tables. This is all very doable with the program that we're using. So that's good. And then we'll go from there. Okay. Let me go through the major assignment as a brief introductory to it. I've also had a video introducing it, and we will be going through this more. But while we are doing this kind of stuff, while we're looking at the design of these in this assignment, I want you to start thinking about the other one. So if you go to our Blackboard, and if you go to assignments and tests, on the very bottom, you will see the major assignment. And the major assignment, and I don't know if many of us here have been to the actual Georgian dining room. So this is the major project, Georgian dining room redesign. So I'll just open this up real quick for you. And what it is that you will be designing with a partner, redesigning the Georgian dining room. So it'll be a complete overhaul of both the front and the back of house spaces. Essentially what we've been trying to learn throughout the whole semester, you bringing this all together in one final assignment. You will create a design that must be a modernization of this upscale restaurant that can be used to present a variety of menus, as the space is used for a wide variety of classes and events. So flexibility, adaptability, the ability to change the layout and move tables around and things like that. The front of house decor must work for a variety of menus, events, and concepts, while still maintaining an upscale feel that will showcase the talents of the students' work. You will be using Visio layouts of the existing structure, and you will work within these walls to conceptualize the dining room, the bar lounge area, and the kitchen space. It goes into details about the front of house design, all of the things that you need to do. So the entrance with the vestibule. So this one's funny because it's a real place. It exists. I don't know. Has anyone, give me a thumbs up, please, if you've been to the Georgian dining room. Or a thumbs down if you haven't. That's probably an easier answer because I don't think many of you have been to the campus. Yeah, I figured. Okay, so what you'll be doing is that you will actually be designing a place in there. You're going to be labeling it. You're going to be providing some supporting material, which is very similar to what you are doing now. It's just going to be expanded a little bit. And there will be a kitchen design as well. And that's going to be it. Usually we have you price it out and do this whole presentation, but because of the way that we're learning and there's less support than it usually is, it's a little much to ask you. So that's what you'll be working on right now. When I look to the assignment, I've given you the Georgian front of house template. So this is what it actually looks like. So hold on, it's just opening up. So this is the front of house template as it is right now. Okay. Right now, this is the wall that's shared with the college. So somewhere along here, you also create an entrance. This is the vestibule that goes outside, and this is a sunken in bar lounge area. There's actually stairs over here too. But this is the more or less the layout and how it looks on the front of house. And then there's also the back of house, which is this one. So it's a little bit of a weird shape, but it goes in and has this layout. So in here, you would have to have your hot line, your cold line, your dishwasher, your storage. The only thing that's not required for any of these, which I'll talk about later on, is that you don't need washrooms and you don't need an office. So that stuff's pulled out because they're in other places. So there's the two layouts for you already. And I believe I actually even put the GDF. This is the actual floor plan of E building. Let me move this around so you can see it better. So even if you've been in E building, my office is right here. This is the GDR. So this is what we're redesigning. So it's this whole area with this sunken in bar, this dining room area, vestibule. This is where the entrance is right now to the hallway. And then this large quantity kitchen is the kitchen for the GDR as well. So that's why those shapes are the way they are. You will be redesigning it as much as possible to create this wonderful upscale, small, it's not huge, it's probably like 14 tables in it, small restaurant. And it's great that also so we're actually thinking about redesigning Georgian dining room. So we usually get a lot of ideas from students, and I give them to my dean, the ones that do well, so he can review them and he might incorporate some of this. Because right now, this Georgian dining room is in desperate need for a facelift. So that all the instructions are there. They're under Visio, and there's also, they're under the assignments. And there's a video explaining it all as well to help you out. Good? It's a lot. I know it's a lot, but that's the next 4 weeks. That's the rest of the semester right there. One big in-class assignment regarding the front of house design, and then one final assignment where it brings in the 4 different in-class assignments plus the material we've been learning in class into one big project. I am here for you on week 13 and 14 to support you, to look at your designs. We can share screens. I can jump in and help you. The college, I think, is open. Like you can, if you're in Barrie, come to the college. Tell me when you're going to be here. All the computer room, we can get a computer room, and you can work on it there together. I can jump in and help you out a little bit. Whatever works for you, not a problem at all. All right. So I'm going to stop this recording, and then at this point, either you're working on your assignment. Or you're asking questions, and if you don't have any questions, feel free to log off and continue on with your day.